Hey, everybody, this is Mark Zweig, and I'm back here with my buddy, Eric Howerton.
What's up?
One more time in the new and fabulous, unbelievable podcast video studio.
It's pretty sick.
I have to admit it is.
It's pretty sick, dude.
How many stage sets do we have in here?
We got three large format. Like
Okay.
this one we consider large. The next one is like a V-desk, like a CNN or Fox News talk show type thing. And then the third one is like a lounge chair, kind of like your Ellen DeGeneres, chat show.
DeGeneres.
Ellen DeGeneres.
Oh, DeGeneres. Okay.
Yeah. And then we got 5 solo pods, which is basically like a smaller table like this where you kind of come in and cut your own social clip. Which would be like that. We're getting into that a lot. Like folks are
Really?
like even the youngins are like they can come in, they just use the phone,
Yeah.
and they just use the audio on their phone, but it gives them a cool environment, just a nice audio controlled environment,
I see.
and little some of these little colors we see in here.
Yeah, I could have my daughter come in here and like sing.
Yeah,
I mean, you could do it in these rooms.
oh, dude,
with all
totally.
this. Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be like your super pro cut.
Sure.
But I mean, no, we can capture excellent audio, to these things. But anyway, like, there's a lot of uses for this space.
So we have different sets for your clients, right? And you guys do everything from letting them use the space and record to
Editing them down.
turnkey.
Yeah, edit it down, send you back just a full edited down video.
Ready to go
video. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
We have what we call our diamond package, which we can, it's more of your white glove services, right? To where we can do everything from establishing a brand for your podcast to owning the YouTube channel so that we can keep that organized for you.
Yeah.
Providing social posts. And then
data tracking too.
we do analytics against that.
Yep.
And we distribute it for you across all the podcast networks.
Right.
And we bring all those analytics back and kind of say, hey, man, this is what's going on. And we'll even do like ad sales. I mean, we'll like receive we could take care of all the contractual stuff and then billing with all that.
That is really a turnkey service. I don't think anybody else does that.
That's my knowledge, no. I'm sure that there will be, though. Like this, here's the reality. I've always said, at least my vision on it is, today we might have like, 100 media outlets with millions of audiences per.
Right.
It's going to change to where we have millions of media outlets with hundreds of audience per. So the whole dynamic shift.
It's really
people consume information.
Centralizing, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just everything will become more niche.
Yes.
Niche.
Well, podcast videos really is the first sponsor of Big Talk About Small Business.
Sure
as hell is. You know that? It's the de facto first sponsor.
It is. I'm going to get my commission on that.
Yeah, I think it's great. Well, I wish you the most success. I love your branding.
Thanks. Yeah, it done a great job. We kind of, I guess it's all kind of relative to small business, but you take this isn't our main logo, right? Our main logo's got color and stuff, but we kind of stripped out and made this really simple so we could get on the black.
You love black.
I do.
And black and chrome, baby.
I do, man.
You just love it. You always have.
Classy, man. I mean, it's simple, timeless, and like you can't help but just as a human being to see that, and it gets into your soul.
All right.
I like soul marketing.
I love that. Well, you've always been very good at branding, and it is important to small businesses. I think most don't do a very good job with it. Let's be honest.
No, they don't.
I mean, they cut those corners, and then they wonder why they don't do that well. But hey, they got word of mouth marketing, though, right?
Yeah. Well, word of mouth marketing starts from really good branding.
Yeah, I know, but that's what they always say.
Well, the thing is like if you go get counsel from a marketing professional, like marketing professionals are really like marketing's a big
like yourself.
Yeah, but I mean, it can get bloated and complicated super quick. But the reality is like this is what you got to do. You just got to strip out.
Yep.
Make it simple. Like, here's another thing, Mark. Here's what I didn't do. And this is a very small business, right? This icon, this logo, icon from our logo is not like known throughout the entire world, right? But here we are just now starting.
Right.
But all I have on here is this little deal. It doesn't say podcastvideos.com, your full service turnkey podcast studio with all this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I'm impressing you with this. And so you see this, you see the sign, you see the car, you see the website, you see all this, and in your brain, you know, like we're visual creatures, we see colors first, then we see imagery, then we see design. Right. And that's kind of the way our brains operate just as human beings. And that's what it does. I'm trying to surround your head space.
Well, it does. Yeah, it does two things. It like connotes professionalism.
Totally.
And attention to detail. And that it's a real business, not like just a sort of hobby for somebody. Yeah. And then the other thing I think it does is, who else are you going to think of if you need a podcast video?
Exactly.
I mean, I'm just glad you called the business what it actually does. I'm so damn tired of canoes and names that mean nothing related to what the business does. It's just refreshing.
Thanks, man. It's straight up podcastvideos.com. Like it's actually even worse because I called it by the domain name. I called the business the domain name. But I mean, that's exactly what it is.
That's what you should do, because then nobody ever gets confused about You're not trying to sell two different things. You're selling one name, period. And
that's it. Done.
It's perfect.
And the domain's
beautiful.
Powerful. But I mean, the final touch to the branding thing for the small business person is keep it simple. And then guess what?
What's that?
Put it everywhere.
Yeah.
And buy and invest in shirts and caps and coasters and flyers.
We did that for Mark Zweig Inc. in the building business. Yeah. Nobody did that in Fayetteville 20 years ago. They just never,
You had a great brand. And yours was white on black.
It was. Absolutely.
It looked slick.
Every single construction company's driving white trucks with black lettering or blue lettering. We had the only black trucks.
It's sleek, dude.
Yeah.
You don't have to do too much with the black and white.
It just looked, and the same with the signs, black signs with white letters. It's easy. Yeah. Now there's a bunch of, copycats out there in that business. But anyway, well, listen, you know what I wanted to talk about today? I had a call this morning with somebody who is a very, very successful business person. His whole career has been one of building. He's bought a lot of businesses. He's a billionaire. Okay.
Did you say
billionaire? Great guy. But in any case, we started talking about one of the things he's interested in is finding some really motivated young people to join his businesses. He's got a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's always looking for talent.
Yeah.
So we started talking about like what kind of talent he wants. I'm a professor there at the U of A, and even though we send everybody to the Career Center when they have needs to hire people, and they do a great job with all of it. I mean, we have our own Career Center separate from the University of Arkansas.
Okay.
And they do, the internships and recruit job fairs and all this. They do a great job. But still, I also have people contact me and say, hey, if you see anybody with this kind of background,
sure,
send them my way. So that's what we were talking about today. And, I think it's entrepreneurs don't necessarily want the same kinds of employees that big companies do.
No.
What do you... Like, you're a real entrepreneur, okay? You've had a lot of different things. You're doing a lot of different businesses. You've built up, you've sold out, you started up. What do you look for,
dude,
in the people that, that are going to work, particularly, work in your organizations, but maybe even more closely with you personally? What are kinds of people do you look for?
I was actually just thinking about a new role that I want to hire. So number one, as an entrepreneur, when I think of not a person that has qualifications first, I think of a need that I have plus other needs that I have that I can mash together into a possible human being that can handle all those things together.
Right.
So number one, I'm not looking for somebody that studied something finitely and in detailed. I'm not looking for a niche type of expert or knowledge-based person.
Yes, you want like more personality attributes, right?
I think of like, okay, are you good at numbers? Right. Well, that tells me this circle of things that you could be able to handle, which could be encompassing, I mean, a lot of things today and there and a lot different tomorrow, but they're going to be related to some sort of engineering type mindset or numbers.
Yep.
And then I think of a creative person, somebody that has vision, that can see things, that make things look cool, that with that person, just like Parker here, he can do video, photography, but then he can write a little bit, even though he's not a writer. I'm still going to push him to write. Sure. And I'm like, hey, write bullet points, build cell cards, and then he designed the studio. Mm-hmm. And so, because he can see things.
Right. I get it.
Totally. And he loves it and he's passionate. So I think about that.
A transferable skill there that you're talking about, but it's not like a narrow, defined.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I start kind of there, because I think that's important, because it's hard for me when I say, hey, I need this specific role, and then here's a job description.
Right.
I hate writing job descriptions.
Dude, I hate job descriptions.
They're terrible.
I absolutely hate them. And they're not good for entrepreneurs, because as soon as you try to define what somebody's got to do, something else is going to come up that you want them to do, right?
Yeah, and then you set an expectation to the second, unless they have, what I was going to tell you is my next thing, unless they have some sort of vision to it, they're going to hold that against you.
Yes.
And you're
always felt like that.
Yeah. And you're in a company, and I've been held against on that. Like, you're in a company that
makes me crazy.
As an entrepreneur, I don't have any idea as to what this company might be doing really in 30 days.
Sure.
I try to go for it.
Or a year or 2 years.
Yeah, but I could be as fast as 30 days. But if I walk in here's my thing. If I walk in the doors 30 days from now, I'm like, guys, look, gals, we're doing this. I want everybody to be like, hell yeah.
Right. It's like a boss of mine said to me once, really entrepreneurial guy back in Memphis 20 or 40 years ago, okay?
Yeah.
He says, if I get up and I tell you we're going to run east today, then I want you to run east. If I get up tomorrow and I say we're going to go west, I want you to go west.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it could change.
It could change.
It's just the way it is.
Look, here's the deal. That's not because I think I'm right. It's because that's fun to me.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I want to.
You got to respond to what's going on. Okay, it's not like you just cast your plan and then you put your blinders on and just like a robot, regardless of what happens. We must stay on this. No, it's not the way it works.
Yes, and then when the market surpasses them, they all spend the next 3 months analyzing the postmortem of it, and then strategizing their next move. And it's like, dude, by the time you've done that, I have slapped you 5 times.
Right.
As an entrepreneur. So, but anyway, like, and to that point though, like, I don't want to walk in, and I don't want it to come across as a statement of, I know what's right, and I'm coming in, and I want people to follow my direction. I want to be able to walk in and we move the ship because the storm is happening and we can see it.
Right. Everybody can see it.
I want to work with the crew that I feel like I'm part of a team that's working to conquer things.
Yes.
Because I can't do it alone. No way in hell.
The problem though, and you're right, it's not all you, and other people have lots of ways to contribute to that and help guide that, make that a reality. But the problem is when you got somebody there on the ship that's like, now wait a minute. You told me 30 days ago to keep this course, and that's the course. That's the course I'm going to keep.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a problem.
It is.
I mean, we're dealing with that right now in a business where, you can set your revenue forecast for the year. But, okay, now we're 6 weeks into the year, and our revenue forecast is going to change, all right? And this person absolutely cannot understand why, as a small entrepreneurial company, that we don't just stay the course because it's not going to happen. All right. It's not going to, now we need to make new decisions.
Yes.
Are we just going to like all jump off a cliff if our course is headed that way and we didn't see it before?
No.
But some people want that.
Totally. That's why they should be at the post office.
Yeah. I hear you.
Like I always use that. I mean, I use it a little too much with my team, but you go to the post office back in the day, and there was inevitably somebody there at the door with their hand on the lock, ready to turn it, and it's 4:59.
Yeah, oh, no kidding.
Soon, dude, as soon as that thing hit 5.
If you're there, it doesn't matter. It's like, sorry, they'll wave at you, maybe, or they'll just ignore you.
So we always run the joke, 5 o'clock, gotta go.
Yeah.
It's just like this. So I think that, but to kind of get back to your original question, what do I look for? I look for people like when I interview or I look at stuff, and I go search social media, I look at the people.
Sure.
You
check them out. Yeah.
What their activity engagement, what are they talking about? What's their attitude? I'm looking for attitude is all I'm looking for. I'm looking to see, is this person going to be able to fit with us emotionally into this business?
Yes.
Have passion behind it. That's all I care about.
That's the most important. You can teach them skills. They can learn skills, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm looking for your attitude, and that's a hard thing to see.
It is,
and you can't really interview it. I'm sure that there's some people that feel like that they can, but
I think the best indication of the future is the past. I mean, I always say that. I hate to say it, but if somebody has never done anything that shows any real initiative or balance, spinning 27 plates in the air at the same time, those are, if they haven't had that kind of experience, they're going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
Working for somebody like you or me or this guy that I told you is more successful than either of us. Okay.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire out there. They want flexibility. They want the ability to multitask. They want the ability to shift gears quickly.
Yeah.
They want the ability to be part of a team and not fight, because this is the way we've always done it.
It just makes my blood boil to even think about.
When you hear that.
Hear that.
I'm sure I probably told you this story, but I talk about this in my class.
Yeah.
Where we talk about buying a business and turning it around.
Yeah.
And one of the problems that there's a lot of pluses about buying a company versus a cold start.
Mm-hmm.
Tons. And we can talk about that someday. But one of the negatives is you inherit a workforce that may have a lot of inertia.
Mm.
And they're used to doing things a certain way. It's like you'll hear that's the way we've always done it. Yeah. Now, they're not as successful as they want to be. Maybe they're on the decline, but that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
I'll never forget this one time I had this guy that was building fences for me.
Yeah.
And it was a project over on Lafayette. I bought 3 houses in a row. You might even remember them over there that were together on one side of the street.
Yeah.
But anyway, I go over there and the guy's putting the gate hardware on. Or he's got the gate hardware on, the fence is done, and I go, look at it, I go, it's all good except the gate hardware is on upside down. He goes, no, it's not. The lock would go on top instead of on the bottom through the hole. He goes, that's the way I've done it for 20 years. I said, then you've been doing it wrong for 20 years. What can I say?
Just doesn't matter what you've been doing.
Right.
It's not right.
It's not right. And so that is a problem. And that attitude, I think, really can hold you back if you're, it's not easy working for entrepreneurs because they do change their mind. They do change direction. And you've got to be sort of fleet on your feet to realize in a small company that's growing, the priorities aren't all just laid out for the year in advance with our capital expenditure program that has been designed by finance, and we just boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Doesn't work that way. And I think it's also, on the hiring process, like if I was looking for somebody, it's also different at what stage of the business I'm at.
Absolutely.
So right now, and even when, my previous companies at the beginning stages, but then there was this point, and we met with JS, my previous partner.
Yes.
Like, there's a time that I need to let somebody like him or somebody else that's got a more, when you get into larger companies, there's a different mentality to it.
Right.
And you have to start structuring and put things in boxes and all that stuff. And then I get put in a cage and I stay in the cage for a long time. But as long as keep the wild animal happy, keep them fed, we kind of need him. He's our circus clown kind of thing,
The only thing that's frustrating to me, having gone through that, is when those managers that you've hired don't want you to communicate directly with the people below them. Okay, I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think those people like to communicate.
Oh, they loved it.
The founder or the top person. You know,
Absolutely, they love it, man.
But they don't want you to do that. A lot of times.
Yeah.
That structure. Well, you know, you're violating the structure now. Now
They're afraid that you're gonna misalign them and put them on some sort of like high level journey. I can't tell you the amount of times like I've had like as we were growing, like JS was always part of the interview process in the beginning, but then there'd be some of these folks that would come in and they would reach out to me, you know, to have 30 minutes. And
they're trying to bypass the JS or whoever's the hiring person.
Well, yeah, then they're trying to get understand the history of the company.
Sure.
But inevitably, every time they'd leave the meeting and I would go on some sort of rampage. I don't even know what I was saying. But every time they're like, "Thank you so much. That really helped me understand the importance of what this company does for the industry,
right?
Not how we help the client, not all this, but how are we making a difference in the industry to make a difference in the world, in the community,
right?
I think that's
you really believe that, and that's important to you.
Absolutely, still do. Same thing with this place. 100%.
You live it.
It's the only way that I can operate. And so if we hire somebody and they can't understand that or get behind that, like I can't, I'm going to have a hard time with them. You know, because they start thinking too small. They start thinking too selfishly. You know,
selfishness, that's a good quality I don't admire in people.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That I want to hire.
Yep.
That's a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Not being responsive, that's another one that drives me batty.
Yeah, yep, that does drive you crazy. You're one of the most engaged people I've ever met. Like freaking, I don't think I've ever waited more. I've never had to wait more than 2 minutes to get a response from you.
Well, how can people just, if you're working in an entrepreneurial company, how can you check out? And now, you know, everybody's got their emails hitting their phone, right?
Sure.
You check out at 5:30 and you don't respond until Monday morning?
On a Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how somebody does that.
I don't even know how you could do that. How could I let that go?
So, but you're on a different level. You're on a different level. Like if you...
But I want that. I want people like that.
I know. That's why whenever I interviewed with you, and you started throwing text messages to me, like immediately when I was driving away from our interview a long time ago, I pulled over and I was like, this dude's testing me. I'm about to show him what's up. I got you. But that's what you're kind of looking for. You're looking for another person to kind of understand what's important to you as an entrepreneur to keep the business going. But don't you want somebody you can volley with, that you can bounce ideas off of, that can give you an immediate response? Like, for sure.
You have an idea, I don't want to wait 3 days to then talk about it. I mean, like you said, I mean, I think the environment today that we're in is so much more competitive. Everything is changing so rapidly.
It's true.
I just don't see how one can choose to slow down their response to things.
Yeah. And that's not going to be an easy thing for some people to handle at all.
It's not. They don't come out of an environment where people function like that, and then they land in your organization.
Now, the good news is I think that if it would be hard to be in a professional corporate structure and then come work for an entrepreneur like yourself.
Yes.
I mean, that would be really, really difficult. Although I can say that there are some
who reject that. They don't want that.
They don't want that. I think that's the majority of people, but I have found some that are like, specifically that work at Walmart, that are really, really intense. Like they're on that game more than anybody I've ever met.
Listen, Walmart, if you're going to succeed in that culture, you ain't going to fool around. You're going to work a lot of hours. You're going to be super responsive. Those are the people who get ahead over there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, they're
a performance culture.
They're animals.
Yeah, those buyers, I mean,
way.
They really drive the business.
Yeah.
Those buyers are the ones that are sort of out there with each one's got their own business and they're competing. And
I'm seeing it a lot with almost about all the orgs, all the departments. I mean, it's a progression of continuous communication. Like I don't know how some of them do it. Like it's almost humanly impossible in my perspective. I mean, like, but I can't really attach to it because I don't know how to engage in something that I don't kind of like it to that level that where I'm not the one activating a change and making ultimate decisions, broadly speaking. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be hard to, but anyway, I think that majority of people though would have a hard time coming out of a corporate setting.
Yes, I agree with
to
that.
have that kind of comms with you. Now, I think the good news though is when I think about my daughters and how much they are active on those phones and a lot of these youngins,
right?
Like they could probably handle that type of communication.
If they do, yeah. Even though do you ever text your daughters and they don't respond?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, I go through that all the time. So they are on their phone and they choose not to respond.
That's the problem. Is like it's work related, responsibility related.
It's
activation on the phone.
Absolutely maddening. But anyway, so this guy I was talking to today, he was telling me about one of his top guys. He's 33 years old. He grew up, his parents were lower middle class. His dad was a diesel mechanic. Mom had some kind of a job, rural community. And how he's taken a business that this guy acquired for $7 million revenue business to $130 million revenue right now because he's such a hustler. He's so hungry. He's not entitled. Okay. He didn't think anybody's going to give him anything. He's just going to make it happen. He's competitive. He gets up every day and he says, I want to win.
I am winning today, damn it. It's so true.
Don't you love that?
I love being around winners. 100%. 100%. It's a contagious thing.
It really is.
And there's people that don't want to win. And I think that's one thing, like when you talk about qualifications, somebody working with you, like you want to hire a winner is all you really want to do. Somebody that will engage, somebody that shows up, somebody that's thinking, that's driving, that's changing and adapting.
Yes.
All those things that are required, because that's the way, if you can't be in a business and run a business without in a winner mentality, because losing is not an option.
And those people are going to be your partners at some point, okay? You're not going to hold them back. You don't want to throw them into this HR created pay structure.
Oh man.
Let's see, you're a manager too. Your pay is $78,412 to $90,308. And you're at $90,308 now. We've got nowhere else we can go.
Yeah. Unless you skip this pay band. In this next band, you have to have X, Y, and it's just like, geez, man, you got to have a freaking doctorate to earn more money.
Yeah, I don't care about that education. I care about their performance.
Yeah, sell.
Okay, their attitude.
Hey, I tell you what, you come work for me and you sell $1 million worth of something on a real quick, I'm gonna hook you up. Period.
Amen.
Period.
I'm with you.
Dude, make some digits happen.
That's the great thing about working as an employee in a entrepreneurial organization. Really, if you're working for somebody who's a decent entrepreneur, your opportunities are still unlimited. I mean, they really are. You're not going to be capped out.
I just think, so on that, like, how do we help like somebody? Because I think there's a lot of opportunity for people starting their career to work with entrepreneurs and gain so much from that and actually become wealthy,
right?
A lot sooner than you could ever do it somewhere else. But I think it's the mentality of walking in the doors. Like you can't, I think number one problem that I've experienced with people that have come and worked with me is that they felt like I had a lot more money than I did.
Right. Oh yeah, I've been there.
Number two, they thought that I was always gaining from their work.
Yep.
And number three,
unfairly gaining.
Yes. And then number three, they thought that I should have been doing it a lot faster.
Yep.
And that they should have gotten richer faster.
Yep.
I mean, we could say you can't, like building wealth is not something that happens in 6 months to a year. Like, it's a continuous process.
Yeah, you're not an overnight success. You're an overnight success after 20 years of work.
Exactly.
Right? That's what everybody says.
And it's the same thing with businesses too. Like, I mean, you know, starting this one up, there's no, I don't know, magical thing about this. It's going to take time to build this up.
Yeah.
Now I want to move as fast as I can. Yeah. And there's ways I can move faster than what I did before.
Right.
But like
you've
the
learned
folks,
some things.
Yeah. But the folks that are with me, like, I mean, if that person, number one, these folks that are with me today helping to create this thing, if we build this puppy up and do well, they're going to do well.
I believe
I believe that in my heart.
Well, because you're a smart entrepreneur, you know that you've got to create opportunities for people to stay.
Yeah.
And you're not going to hold them back because you're so greedy.
Yeah.
And short-sighted.
What's going to hold everything back is when they get inside themselves. They go home, they start talking to the other negative forces. They watch a negative thing, they hear a negative story, and they hear a negative professor, and they hear a negative parent.
And a negative friend.
Negative spouse, and everybody starts feeding their heads. Oh, he ain't going to hook you up. You've been working too hard. Why are you up there working so hard?
Quiet quitting. That's when they do that. Have you heard that term?
No.
That's where they don't quit, but they just do less. This is real popular during COVID.
That is robbery.
Post-COVID is quiet quitting.
That's robbery, man.
You haven't been reading your social media business bullshit posts as much as I have.
I don't keep up with it. But I call that
smart.
Stealing, robbery, embezzlement. What would you call something like that? Quiet quitting.
Is it?
Because you are stealing money from a lot of people, actually.
Well, you're asking to be fired. I mean, what can I say? Yeah. You're doing a bad job for your client. You're self-employed. You got one client. You're doing a bad job for them. So
yeah,
where do you think that's going to go? Right? You'll be out of business soon.
Yeah, you will.
It's inevitable. But
and I'm looking for that person. Like, if I came and worked for you, it is my job to keep vision and stay positive and come alongside you and help drive that business. If stuff gets twisted up.
Now, wait a minute. If you don't have enough work to do, isn't it my job to assign more things to you?
No, it's not.
It's not? Is it your job to find stuff that adds value and increases our productivity and performance?
It's also my honor.
Your job.
It's my freaking honor.
Okay.
To do that for you and for us and for the community and for the industry
and for your teammates. Yeah. And
it's my honor.
Right.
It's called honor.
And the world.
Honor.
Yes. It's not something to be avoided. No. It's something to be embraced. Okay.
It's at the end of the day. I'm sorry I said that.
That's right. But what about the beginning of the next day?
I'm sorry I said that. I remember immediately when but like, where is your honor going to be? And I think that you're going to be able to say you have a lot of honor in what you did in your life. And its majority is going to be about work related to work.
And it's related to effort. I hate to say it. It's so much of it is just friggin' effort. It's
just like so you and I have a relationship, right? We're friends now, but it's been based upon work.
Sure.
And we have a professional relationship in that regard. But like, I mean, that's pretty honorable to me.
Of course.
Relationships is what we always remember, but we categorize it incorrectly. We think the only relationships that matter to us are our love relationships and our kids and our family. And we put it in this little bubble. And then work is somewhere that just supports those relationships.
Well, that's the work-life balance problem I have.
Exactly.
Yeah, it should be work-life integration.
Right. And so when I think about my life and my accomplishments and my enjoyment and what I've been able to achieve on my time here, I'm thinking about, yes, my work, my wife and my family, my kids, but and my dogs, but I'm also thinking about all my work relationships that I've had over the years.
Of course.
Some of the brightest things, like some of the greatest laughs, some of the biggest triumphs, some of the scariest moments are been with the people I've worked with.
Well, and not only that, I mean, I said to you the other day after the Cancer Challenge lunch that you organized and sponsored, I was so proud of you. I'm proud to be associated with you because
I appreciate that.
I mean, I can see that you really do want to give back.
Yeah.
You are willing to put your time and money into something that helps people with no benefit to you whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other than maybe you get some positive feedback or you meet some people that are inspirational. You know, like the speaker we had the other day.
Yeah.
He's going to be on the show.
Freaking amazing.
Trent.
Dude, what a freaking awesome story, man.
It's an awesome story. But those other relationships are critical to maintaining your inspiration, morale, and motivation.
Aren't they? Yeah, I agree. Thanks. I appreciate that. And I was actually just hearing it this morning from Napoleon Hill as we were listening to
they
something.
They can grow rich.
Yeah, man. But he says, like, there's no satisfaction in money. No one's ever satisfied.
No.
The only time you get satisfaction is when you help other people.
Right.
That's like it. And that's been based on his interviews of you talked about billionaires earlier.
Right.
Like multi-billionaires that he interviewed back in the day, the richest people of all time.
It's always one of the again, I'll go back to my teaching and my students. It's always one of the great satisfactions of business ownership is creating good jobs for people.
Dude, absolutely.
And then seeing them thrive and families that, you know, it's not about just enriching yourself at all. That's not that rewarding.
Not at all.
The other stuff is rewarding.
What I think is one of the most rewarding things, and the satisfaction you're getting from that, I've kind of drilled that down even further. It's watching someone else self-confidence grow.
Yes.
And knowing that they're going to continue to grow as that person, and they're going to be able to, because you can't contribute unless you have some self-confidence.
I'm sure I told you this, so forgive me if I told you this story before, but it's right in line with that.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes when we talk about raising our kids and the parallels between that and management, sometimes that bothers me. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't want to treat my employees like children. But there are some parallels there because I don't treat my children necessarily like children, as some people would. Mm-hmm. But, you know, my stepdaughter who's 21, you know, now, I had told her about somebody that I met who was very inspirational, had a lot of businesses and a nonprofit. She says, I want to meet that guy. I would really like to meet him. So I set him up. They texted back and forth. They get together for coffee a couple times. And the next thing I know, she's doing a proposal for the guy to do marketing consulting. And she's mapped this whole program out, and she's going to sell him 30 hours a week of her time, okay, at a good rate as a psychology student, not business major. And my wife's like, you should go take a look at that. You know, go see what she's doing before she hits send on it. And so I kind of went down there and, you know, hey, you know, let me take a look at what you're doing, you know. So she lets me see it. And I thought, you know, first thing I'm not, all this, I don't know about the way this is phrased. I could change this graphic layout, make this look, you know. And then I said to myself, you know what?
Let her fail.
I'm not going to touch this thing.
Let the mistakes happen.
But if she succeeds, she'll know she did it all on her own. And she did. And you know what? I think it's been tremendous for her development. She is more confident.
Totally.
By far.
Totally.
And she still works for the guy. So
that's freaking awesome, dude. That's the way it all works.
Yeah, it really is. Seeing that confidence that she knows she can do that, initiate and create something out of nothing.
That's right.
Fantastic.
It's fun because I'm glad you told that story, because there's been so many times, like in business, you know, even here recently, we've been trying to get this thing opened up.
Sure. This new studio.
New studio. Yeah, right. The new studio. So many things I'm like, you know, they're doing that wrong or somebody's doing this wrong.
And you want to micromanage.
Want to micromanage or do it myself.
Right.
You know, or give feedback and fix it for them or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it's funny, like when those things happen in your mind, you think, how is the best way to approach this? But to watch, they might take 5 steps to do something where I could do it in one, but to allow those 5 steps to happen, because I know if they do that themselves,
next time
they're going to do just only 2 steps instead of the 5.
Yep.
And that's called scaling, right?
Yep. Exactly. And yeah, that's so pivotal. I mean, honestly, if you look back on my construction relationship.
Hold on a second. Did you say pivot?
No, I didn't say pivot.
You said pivotal.
Oh, pivotal. Okay. Well, that's not pivot. Give me a break, okay? I'm going to lean into that one. We lean into that. Let's hope it doesn't fall over when I lean into it. That's what I always want to say. But anyway, now you lost my train of thought.
You're saying pivotal.
Yeah. Oh, Lord.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that.
Look, I'm an old guy, okay?
Okay. I'm sorry.
But anyway, no, I think it really is to develop people. But in the construction business, which, we never had any tremendous success, really. I mean, we had success. We got on the Inc. list. We got, we were doing $5 or $10 million a year. We created a great brand. We did have the highest prices of anybody in our area at the time. We kind of started the whole trend.
You did. I agree.
But financially, it was never a great success. I mean, it was great when we had a lot of rental properties and depreciation and sheltering.
Yeah.
A bunch of income, not paying taxes.
But you weren't like getting, there wasn't a lot of cash.
No.
Profit.
There really wasn't. It was nice having, like, if you wanted to move, you had a crew of people. If you wanted to do anything on your house, you could go.
Right.
Make one call or text and it was done immediately. I love that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But I never was able to get away from micromanagement of certain aspects of it, where I would try to develop the people, but the people, I guess, you could say I had the wrong people. But it's still, to this day, we're doing this project, this renovation of our next house that we bought. And I'm telling you, Eric, if I don't go over there 4 times a day and look at down to, why is that piece of trim like that? Okay. Why did you put this here but not do it there? I mean, it's like the doors have 3 types of hinges. I've got to tell them 3 times over, do not try to put the hinge on the door, because I replace all the door hinges throughout the house and the renovation. If it doesn't fit on precisely, don't use that hinge. I've got the right part. Do not install it wrong, the wrong one. But I mean, it's like, if I don't do that, I'll come back and there'll be a guy whittling on the door, putting the wrong hinges on it. Well, the hinges work right. It's like, I told you 10 freaking times, okay? I got the hinges out. I pointed where they were. I told your boss this. It's extremely frustrating. And I will say it is the difference in certain businesses or industries. The quality of the people that you deal with really does make a difference. As far as the scalability and your management style and some of the stuff that we could sort of take as universal truths that work with intelligent white-collar workers versus people who might have dropped out of school in the 7th grade. Okay? I mean, I'm just...
Well, if they take pride in what they do, though.
They may take pride in it, but they just don't. They take a much, much more intense level of management on a day-to-day basis than I want to do.
Would you say...
And that hurts the scalability of those.
Oh, totally.
It really does.
Do you think, like, there's been a lot of people that don't like having meetings? Like, I get that a lot.
I hate meetings. I'm one of them.
Are you?
I despise meetings, unless there's really good donuts or pastries.
Then you're in.
Then I'm in. I go to New York. I go to this company's board I'm on. They have the best French pastries you've ever had in your life.
Does it make you excited to go to that meeting?
Oh, God, does it make me excited.
Really? That's all it takes?
I love those pastries.
So if I have a meeting and I'm like, hey, Mark, we're having a meeting, would like for you to join us. At first, you're going to be like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
this is bullshit.
Right.
But then my next line's like, hey, by the way, we're having some fantastic pastries.
These almond croissants and stuff. Oh my God.
You would immediately, you turn and be like, I'm in?
I could last like a couple hours maybe. But longer than that, no, then they'll lose their.
But when I think of meetings, I feel like that, and I don't know, I haven't become good at expressing this, but like our new director of operations has what he calls his touch bases every day.
Yeah, I think
daily touch bases.
Sure.
With the team where you corral. So I'm just thinking, like you're saying, don't put these hinges on this door.
Right.
But what you really need is you need everybody to huddle up and we have a quick discussion about some of the most important things of the day, and you could communicate, and everybody understands it at once.
Right.
But you don't do that probably.
No, I like that. I think that's
great.
But
do you think that would help that
if you have the discipline to do it? I think it's absolutely great. It takes a certain discipline that's hard for me to like consistently say we're gonna have a huddle at 8 o'clock every morning or whatever, because I'm not always there at 8 o'clock.
I'm with you.
Like, it's I may not.
You just gotta fly in the door, don't you?
Yeah,
between phone calls.
I may not want to be doing that at that time, but I mean, again, this is part of the problem with entrepreneurs.
That's a good point. Yeah, because we're not consistent.
Right.
We're the opposite of consistency.
Right.
You have to be able, if you're going to work for an entrepreneur, you have to be able to be very, very flexible and dynamic and actually enjoy that ride. Or, I mean, I don't mind you laughing at it. I don't mind you poking fun at it.
Right.
As long as you participate in it.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like, if you know I'm a little crazy, I'm good with that. As long as you think it's funny.
It's always been part of our shtick.
It has, man. But if you think I'm crazy and it pisses you off, and then you want to start changing me,
right,
and changing the situation and arguing and trying to get it to fit and put a square peg in a round hole, that's when it doesn't work.
That's why we're unemployable, basically. Okay? We have to do our own thing because we do not want to be forced into that mold. But see, I like that. I look for people like that too. Yeah. I want to hire other entrepreneurs. I want to hire other future entrepreneurs.
What if we could we start a business and get 10 entrepreneurs and we all just together
hire people?
No, we're all just, there's my beautiful wife poking her head through the window. Yes, ma'am, we're almost done. There's the real boss right there. I have to kind of answer her.
No, anyway, what are we going to do with these 10 entrepreneurs?
Like, just all get together and start a business, and we are the employees.
Yeah.
Together.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Dude, I wonder, that'd be a fun experiment, wouldn't it? Where we all own the same amount, and we only all put in $100, but we all believe in the same cause, and just go get.
It could be exciting. I mean, it really would be a good experiment.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, maybe we should think about that.
So maybe we should tell our listeners, if you are an entrepreneur and you're interested in joining
the club, but you got to be a real entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean you have to have tremendous success, but better than just you always work for somebody else and you talk about it in coffee shops. Okay? That's fair. You got to have lived off what you killed.
And that's your freaking job description. Don't ask for anything more detailed than that shit, right? The only other thing we'll send you is an operating agreement, right? And it's your job to read that.
All right. Well, this conversation's degenerated. Eric's wife is outside the studio.
Yeah.
She's ready to go to your next engagement.
She's wanting to go check out a new restaurant in Bentonville.
Oh, cool.
Apparently Prelude and Scotch and Soda joined forces up there. Prelude's down in Fayetteville, right?
Yeah, are they still?
They're still there, I think. And then, but they partner up with Scotch and Soda to have a second Prelude.
Well, that sounds good. I'll be dining at Steak and Shake today to the drive-up window.
Dude, that food's so bad for you, Mark. I'm sorry,
but look,
I know it's tasty.
I mean, I'm almost 66. I'm weeks away. Okay.
So?
From 66, I'm still going. All right. I mean, I feel pretty good.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we won't change your diet yet.
All right, not yet.
You're doing good.
I'm sure at some point I'll live to regret my behavior.
Maybe you'll be the happiest person. And I'm the one over here eating freaking carrots and garlic
Maybe.
dip.
Well, I'm
And
glad
herbs.
that you are. I am trying to eat salads at least once a day with my steak or ribs or.
Is that really your?
I'm eating salads every day.
Do you drink water?
Yes, some. I mean, isn't there water and tea and coffee?
It's a terrible diet.
All right.
Right.
Well, listen, it's been great talking with you today, and I look forward to our next episode. And meanwhile, this has been another episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you're interested in our prior shows, check out our website at www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com. If you'd like to sponsor our show, and our audience is continuing to grow, okay, we're glad to take your money
Yes.
and talk up your business.
Yeah.
As long as it's one we think is good.
I tell you, that's
We're
a
going
good
to sell
challenge.
our souls to the corporate devil.
No, but I tell you what, if you were a cool company
Mm-hmm.
and you paid us some money, it'd be kind of neat to see how we would talk up somebody else's business.
Yeah. There's a lot of businesses I admire out there.
Yeah.
So maybe yours is one of them. If so, give us a call.
Yeah. Give us some monies and product.
All right. Well, sorry about that to degenerate into that self-centered pitch there. But
That's bad.
anyway, we'll see you next time around, and thanks a lot.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com, and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.